Hello, Brony. It is Brony time, and welcome to Let's Read, Watch, React, Play, I guess, to the Hayseed Night. Now, if you're wondering what the Hayseed Night is, the Hayseed Night is a fully animated, well, not fully animated, but it's a. Would you say it was animated? I'd say I'm just gonna say fully animated for all sakes. It is an animated visual novel, voice acted to the 9 yards. Um, Novel that I really had no clue about until I was at work one day and it was slow, and an article popped up talking that the full version of this game had just released with all the chapters. And I took immense interest in this, and I thought, I might as well play. And the first chapter was good. It was solid, and I thought, hey, why not start over with you guys and do the rest of the game through myself. Now, this isn't blind to start. I believe I got through chapter 1 and most of chapter 2. So I do know a little bit about what's going on. The only reason I did not upload that is because I've had audio issues if you watch my Attorney series, and I had the same desync issues when I tried to record the first 2 episodes of this. And then I kind of played it myself, and then I fixed it, and I said, you know what, I'm going to start again and experience it through with the people on my channel. Now, yeah, one thing that stuck out to me was definitely the art style. What really drew this to me. I still don't know much about the story. Once again, I haven't got in. I know some of the characters, but I didn't get that far into it, so it does look gorgeous, though.
Holy horns! What's with this place? It's ancient. Are you sure we're allowed to be here?
You're allowed to be anywhere as long as no one finds you. Okay, so yeah, the narrator is... I think I don't know... They didn't give the narrative voice because I don't think they wanted to give their identity, but I'm still trying to figure out if, like, this narrator is supposed to be us, or it's just a character that they didn't want to spoil who it was. Maybe we'll find out at the end. Once again, I don't know. I didn't get that far into the game. You're allowed to be anywhere as long as no one finds you. Sneaking through forgotten cracks in a wall is not as easy as it once was, but I still managed to push my hat and my staff in somehow without wrecking the wall any further. Today's a mess. The last thing I'd want is the whole city knowing that I'm back on my nonsense. Namely, helping Faunts trespass into abandoned temples in pursuit of fixing the written lies that pass as history these days. I'm too old for this rubbish. Catch a glimpse of Lynn's expression as I push my scarf over my face again. My newest headache looks entirely unconvinced by my logic. Look, we're already here, and you're going to need all the help you can get, kid. I don't have time to explain every single little thing to you. If said kid still has any qualms left about following me here, she has the rare decency not to voice them. I mean, this whole ordeal is her fault, in a very roundabout sort of way. Still, her fault nonetheless. And it's anyone but mine, at least. I didn't come all the way back to the city to do charity for his descendants. I just wanted to find that dumbass's grave and clean up a little or leave some incense or something, not this. I wasn't looking to hear legends about any so-called knight of the upper field. I know that the books in this library won't say a word about him, but I had to come back to this place anyway. The unlikely possibility of finding a trace of existence from the broken tablets and burnt codices was far too compelling to ignore. Here I am, still following in his footsteps. like the few unlucky scripts that time and thieves spared, frozen in their shells as they await the return of someone who will understand them. We have a lot in common, this library and I. Kate got eyes open a fraction wider, and I only managed to narrowly avoid the incoming onslaught of questions. Here, ink, paper. You can write, right?
Of course! You're talking to the fastest.
Shut it, Askadaz.
Sheesh, you're really adding some flavor to my name, huh? Where did all that salt come from? Or could that be the sweetness of an old flame leaving such a bitter aftertaste?
Ew, no, don't do that. It makes you sound like your mother. I mean, her mother. Oh, or her great-great-great-grandmother? Gah! I can't believe the story has derailed this much. How long have I been gone?
I can't even start to guess if you won't tell me how old you are.
I'm entirely too old to care about something as dumb as numbers.
Well, gee, I'm starting to see why you wanted me here. Do you have a name, or are you too cool for letters too?
My name would only doom this project. You will be me, and it will be nothing more than the space between words.
What a droll way to say you want me getting lynched for this.
I can still keep the story to myself and tell you to get lost, kid.
But you won't, because after hearing my name, you realize I'm the chosen gazelle that legend of old prophesied would tell the true story of the night, right? I could use a little encouragement here, not gonna lie.
Listen, Lynn, I don't believe in chosen ones, and I certainly don't know what the truth is. Doubt Adder himself ever knew. But I'm going to tell you the story I know. I will tell it once, and I will probably tell it wrong, since I can barely remember it anymore. Even so, anything I say will be 1,000 times more accurate than any of the odes this witless bunch of fop doodles have been singing through the ages. This may be Adder's punishment for lying his way into history, but I still can't let the name of a friend be smeared like that. So what I mean to say is that I will skewer you if you interrupt me and make me forget something.
Fair.
She finally shuts up for a moment, though I know the silence won't last. Right, good. I guess I should put my own thoughts in order before we begin. His story started back when he left his village to... No, that would be too long. His story starts when he became a knight, and no, that defeats the point. I guess his story starts with me. I could allow myself that much merit, right?
Who are you again?
Valid question. Very valid question. I'm the one who tells the story, you write. Okay, alright, here we go. Chapter 1. What better way to start a story than when things are about to go south?
Adder. Hey, lad. Do we have to go through this every single fuck?
Yeah!
Oh boy. Here we go.
A beast! I saw a beast!
Hello everyone, welcome. I guess Maxie's just gonna give you a welcome to anyway. Welcome to the Encyclopedia. If you want to learn all about the characters and the world they live in, make sure to come back often. If you find yourself overwhelmed by all the info, don't worry, you will learn all the important concepts as you play through the story itself. Still, if you want a crash course ahead of time, I recommend reading the topic, species, and lore and checking out locations. Alrighty. So, if you guys don't know, I'm a person who likes lore, and I tend to read it anyway, and I feel like, you know, guiding you guys along with the lore might help, so we are going to read these. So, of course, we have Adder. Age 19, 20 old, 21, old enough to drink at this tavern, Miss Barkeep. Okay. Species, he's a roe deer. And his birthplace is Ravine Alus. Sanshur Province. Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to mispronounce things so bad. It's been a while since I've jumped into this game, so bear with me. Adder Longneck Shorthorns, or Adder Shovel Hands, because I wonder if it's because he has massive hands. Sometimes Adder Shoeface is just a bumpkin with a long name and longer hands who left his tiny village, Ravina Aalus, to move to the great city of Earlum. I think that's how you pronounce it. We will figure out, because I don't remember. No one quite knows why, but he arrived with a single objective in mind, becoming a knight. But he's a peasant and pretty damn poor at that. Ah, well, that's not going to stop him, is it? Well, it kinda is. Dreams aren't edible, after all. Lives in Slander District with his self-proclaimed best friend, Gyoff. Gyoff, son of Igai, honeyed voice. Age, guess. Yeah, probably. Species, a cane deer. This is also a very comedic title, so there's going to be a lot of jokes. Birthplace, Earlum. Gyoff is, as he will make sure to tell you at some point or another, be it relevant or not, the son of Igai, a famous troubadour that wandered through Akazor, playing in the most important palaces. All that Igai left for Gyoff was his voice and his debts. However, he claims to be Adder's only friend and supporter in his quest to become a knight. A claim that is questionable at best and dubious at most. Bad at drinking, bad at playing, a bad influence, and a bad friend. But, hey, he lets Adder live for free with him in his old rundown house in Slander District. The Knight of the Upperfield. Adder Sind of Askenaz, Knight of the Upperfield. Age, ? Species, roe deer. Birthplace, Ravina Valus. It's Adder, basically. Axor's most beloved hero knight also happens to be Arkazor's most disputed character. Who was he? What business did he have in the great city of Earlum? How did he climb his way to fame? Did he really slay a beast? Why did he never wield a sword? Who were his allies? Who were his foes? It would all be rather clearer if the protagonist of these tales hadn't spent half his life exaggerating just about everything he did. So yeah, there's the introduce. So kind of right off the bat, it's just like, this guy freaking... He could have been a bum. We don't know. Lore. Okay, here's where it's going to get interesting. And bear in mind, the first couple episodes are going to be very lore heavy as we just get introduced to everything. So magic, the Siphet. Safi is the name received by Barhan practitioners of Siphet. Sephihet. I'm sorry. A highly sophisticated form of reality alteration. What the common folk boil down to mere magic. Siphet consists on the manipulation of the Hatsat itself, using godstones as a source of energy, or for more advanced practitioners, one's own emotional response. Parents all over the steppes tell their children that these horrible creatures will come and feast upon their flesh if they don't behave. What are these monsters? What are these monsters said to feel nothing but an intense desire to devour and destroy? Created by Aimai during the War of Two, the beast's only purpose was to exact revenge upon Bayatat's creations, the deer that had taken over Dakhna. They were defeated and destroyed after one of their own shared their only weakness with the deer. Baitat rewarded him by granting him immortality and a deer-like appearance, thus becoming the immortal High King Isifik? I don't know. We'll figure out. Hopefully they'll voice act it. That still rules out Arkazor to this day. Wise people knew that they shouldn't fear the monsters they can see, but rather the ones they do. I'll fear the monsters they can't see, but rather the ones they do. Lifelike puppets created by Siphists during the Baran Rebellion, they were built to carry specific tasks, from serving tea to wreaking havoc, and resemble Ekon with the sole intention to mock the deer. Tradition dictates that their frames are made of brass, porcelain, or marble, making the bulk of their body, an inner core made of rock crystal and silk, fur grass, or real hair decorating their heads and tails. Upon purchase, they would bear the mark of the gazelle that had bought them, forsaking all connection to their creator. Most were destroyed during and after the Baron Rebellion, so the ones that remained reached quite a high price among collectors. Oh shit. Did I... Hold up. The siphon. Next page. Okay. I missed something. As much as the deer distrust anything they cannot hit with their antlers, Sifet is as necessary to their comfort and success as it was in the heyday of Bascarat. Therefore, deer have schools where the same concepts are taught, under a different name of course. Zarzagan is the term used for arcane wizards who did their absolute best at rebranding to avoid associating any negative connotation to their watered-down version of the same concept. Okay, back to where we were. Okay, go. Baitatse is simply put the cosmos, the all. It is an entity that connects the universe together. It is not seen as a god in any way, but rather as an unconscious entity, the very essence of reality. Everything that surrounds us and holds existence together, often represented as an empty box. While some regional cults speak of Baitatse being created by other gods, more traditional views maintain that Baitatse is in charge of providing every god with a sandbox in which to exercise their powers. The union between Baitatse and Dakna is known as Hatsa, a current that passes through every living being, connecting with their very blood. Every being blocks the stream that passes through them to some degree, but only those that know the ways of Sifet can truly tap into the current and block it completely, gathering more and more Hatsa behind them as they live. This makes them wise and powerful, but it weighs down on them, eroding their bodies and minds away little by little. Once every being dies, the current continues its path like a furious torrent, carrying some of the previous blocker's strength to be passed on to the next creature that was fated to inhabit. In this way, all the bloodlings are connected to each other, and no two living people can be a part of the same current. The polar opposite is oblivion. Bloodlings believe that having their connections to the Hatsa erased somehow is the worst punishment possible, since they and any creature that would have been connected to them would cease to exist in any way. Only the worst criminals and Sifis are condemned to oblivion. The complete erasure of not only your person, but the very memory of you. A sentence to be apart from the world for all of the lives that may share your current. Every curse or otherwise ill-meaning Sifet has their basis in this concept, an alteration to your connection to the Hatsa. If you encounter small gods or cursed people, take a moment to pity them, for it's really their fault that they became either. Existence after death. In the world of Dakna, life is celebrated for as long as it lasts, but death is not wept with much ardor. Life is borrowed from the future and taken from the past. It is therefore understood that death is an eventuality, but not a permanent state of the soul, for it is something borrowed from the universe itself. The punishment for Sephiet is to be burned in life in an attempt to have all future lives remembered, the suffering that comes from stealing the future. First Age, the War of Two. The world of Dakna was entrusted to Amai. Originally, he decided to turn into a vast garden that he could watch over and modify to his own taste. During a long nap, his younger brother, Baitat, snuck into his garden and began adding his own creations to it. At first, he carved figures out of marble, or mere puppets, what he could play with. But he soon grew bored. Thus, he decided to invent a new concept, the bloodlings, weak creatures that came and went in a blink for him, changing constantly, creations that soon learned to use Amai's flora to grow strong, and to have lives of their own that Baitat could watch. First stage, the creation of the beasts. The first didn't take lightly to waking up just to find most of his garden turned into a steppe. In a single night, he created a new species, one that will live exclusively to hunt Baitat's creation, the beasts. Not one to be bested like that, Baitat decided to create more and more deer to fight his older brother, eventually starting the cosmic equivalent of a fistfight, the War of Two. The battle came to an end when one of the beasts turned against his own kind and revealed their weakness to the deer. Baitat himself granted him immortality for that, giving Arkazor its legendary High King Isif. I can't pronounce that word. Fourth Age, the Baron Rebellion. The sublimation of the arrogant, or more commonly Baran rebellion, started 437 years prior to the story, when the representative of Hirub declared that the land of Bascarat would no longer be independent from the kingdom of Arkazor, but rather replace it. Taking the title of Jasif, Amishsep Stonebridge created an army of Cephis, powerful Baran wizards and golems that advanced dangerously fast towards Irlia. It is said that the himself put an end to the war, but all sources are greatly exaggerated. Be it as it may, the war ended 30 years after its inception, and things haven't looked up for gazelles ever since. Second Age, the Long Silence. After the War II, the gods disappeared. Millennia passed without a single word from any god. Millennia. That's what I meant. Passed without a single word from any god, in a time that would be known as the Long Silence. During this time, the beast that revealed the weakness of his kind to the deer, Isifik, roamed the steppes looking to unite the deer tribes. He would go on to become the immortal High King Isifik. The Three Brothers. It is said that there are many gods in Baitatse, Arkazor's mainstream religion. However, recognizes only 3 of them as protectors of Dakla, the brothers of the 3. Amai, also known as the First, the oldest brother, or Forester, creator of all the plants and the beasts, extensively worshipped in sacred gardens in the city. Farmers ask for his blessing in every harvest. Baitat, also known as the Second, the middle brother, or Deer Father, creator of the Akane, worshipped in the biggest temples of the cities, represented by the High King himself. Hurub, also known as the Third, the youngest brother, or the fervent creator of Makdar and Bahrain, once greatly worshipped in both Arkazor and Bascarat. There are no functioning temples devoted to him anymore. Third Age, the Second Creation. The long silence came to an end with the abrupt apparition of new figures in the sky. Thus arrived Hirub, an uncharacteristically enthusiastic god that looked forward to fixing the damage caused by the War of Two. He was too young to create his own life forms, however, and instead decided to compose new beings out of his older brother's creations. That wasn't enough for Hirub. He wanted his new creations to rule sovereign, thus starting the Baran Rebellion. Seasons. Here's a brief review of the climate throughout the year in the Akane steppes. The Akane calendar is divided into 10 moons, grouped in 3 major seasons for religious reasons. Flowerescence, usually lasting between 1 and 3 moons. Dawnsoon, which reliably lasts around 6 moons. Bleak night, which rarely lasts more than 2 moons. You can read more about each season in the following pages. Flowerescence. It's the most forgiving season in Arkazor, with mild temperatures, occasional rain, and abundant food. This season officially starts with the first bloom of the sacred truce tree. The season holds a variety of festivities in honor of Aimai, the oldest brother, asking him for good harvests and to keep his beasts away 1 more year. Adir's first marriage traditionally takes place in Flowerescence to be properly blessed with fertility and strength to endure their life together. Superstition has it that marrying again in the same season will instead cause the new wife to wilt away like a flower before Dawnswood arrives. Jesus. Dawnswood, the hottest season in Arkazor, summer, when clouds migrate back to far beyond the mountains of the spine of Amai. This season officially starts with the first ripened fruit of the sacred truce tree. There won't be rain in the Akane steppes for 6 full moons, and once the clouds return, they bring ice with them as a present from the frozen lands. A famed festival takes place every year during the first week of Dawnswoon in Irland, though it is nowadays seen as a farewell party to the lesser gods that live in the clouds. It was originally a Baran celebration, involving offsprings to appeal to the Justice's leniency. Bleak night, the coldest season in Arkazor, with frequent snow and cold winds coming from the sea. The season officially starts when the last leaf falls from the sacred truce tree. Famines have been a bit more forgiving in this season since the Akane began planting turbicules as a way to save space and accidentally figured out that they were resistant to cold. Lucky accidental thing. Baran. The once proud gazelles are bloodlings created by Hirub to prosper in the desert kingdom of Bascarat, now consumed by the sands of time, much like the history of its people. Great wizards and avid researchers during the Second Creation, they are easy to spot due to their extremely resilient coiled horns, short fur, most commonly sand-colored in Bascarat's mainland, with darker variations alongside coastal areas, a slim body that presents little variation across sexes, and most remarkably, the fact that both men and women are horned. Ancient tablets scroll point towards past petty divisions among the definition of what constitutes a baron, much like those common amongst the Kane. But the only major dispute that persists that day is that of the ibex. After the war that would come to be known as the sublevation of the arrogant, or more commonly the Baron Rebellion, they were given two choices. Either being banished to Aktemusarat, the frozen land beyond the spine of Amai, or taking refuge in Arkazor, provided they swore allegiance to the High King Isifik. That wasn't all, of course. They had to give up all their research on Sifet, the manipulation of the Hatsar magic for the common folk, to the deer. Abandoned Baskatet, definitely in favor of Cernar. Swear off Sifet under penalty of total obliteration from existence, pay a monthly tribute per family to the local government. Gazelles present a myriad of contradictions to a majorly servine society with a deep horn fixation. There is no better example than the concept of horn eaters, and the stigma that follows deer that have baron cohorts. Their innate attunement to the Hatsa and long history of wizardry still haunt them, painting them as the dormant menaces, the villains of hundreds of tales. Conversely, their agile minds and smaller frames are described lovingly, conveying a deeply condescending and paternalistic servine desire to protect a species that has been stripped from the inventions that allowed it to thrive. Gazelles are therefore both perceived as a personification of primeness, commonly employed by richer servine families as trusted management positions, or as household servants, and sly tricksters that use their quicker wits and magic disposition to cheat, deceive, and curse the deer in the street. Okay, so they are a minority. There's a lot of racism surrounding them. Okay, the oldest bloodlings that still roam the land. The deer population is mostly located on the Akane steppes. In fact, Akane is just an abbreviation of the Baskatet phrase, Ikapentan, those who are red inside. They were created on a whim by Baitot after he snuck into his brother's garden and have been at odds with most plants ever since. The beasts are their natural enemies for that very reason. They take pride in having strong frames, value darker fur tones and longer coats, and in case it wasn't obvious enough, there is no such thing as oversized antlers for a stag. A powerful rack is, after all, the most prominent and valuable trait a male deer can develop, a sign of dominance and virility inherited from an age that preceded the concepts of logic or reason. They have been united under High King Isirkis's rule since the Long Silence, though some tribes remain independent far to the west. Social standing. Deer are most likely the dominant species in Dogma. The Akane population extends across a vast expanse that belongs to Arkazor, surpassed only in numbers by Ibex in Aktamusirat and Makadar in their various forests of people. They're a vastly differentiated rank within the position of privilege, from the lords that watch over the many provinces of Akazor and that live to continue its expansion, to the many mayors and guildsmen required to keep towns running about the aid of their so-called protectors, to caravaneers, sailors, merchants, artisans, and dancers, down to the farmers, miners, and lastly the many lesser professions one may acquire through the kingdom. No official rank matters so much as that of horn size, though. Any peasant with vast enough horns could earn even the attention of a noble, and a noble rendered hornless would speak as loudly as the lowliest mud picker. The Akane identity. Akanes come in all manner of sizes, coats, and colors. The life of a stag is a constant battle to prove their worth to their kinsmen from the moment their horns are turned to live bone by the Zarzagan of their town upon their third shed. And this pointless battle to prove who is and who is not worthy of the title of true deer extends to their identity as species. Red deer, with their long brown coats and huge curved antlers, are vastly recognized as undisputed Akane, keeping the name firmly for themselves and designating all the others fallow deer from the northern steppes with their palmed horns and wide range of shades. Roe deer from the southern reaches with their short antlers and sand-colored coats, Puttus, the smallest nomads that roam the steppes, etc. Those firmly believe themselves to be Akane from antlers to hooves, but the rest of subspecies do not recognize them as such, believing their yellow fur to be the result of miscegenation with barons. They are extremely vocal about their bile towards horn eaters as a result. Dimorphism and gender. Biologically, male and female deer tend to differ quite a lot from birth, but gender is not seen as a perpetual sentence. In spite of, or perhaps due to how much a stag's life revolves around proving that their identity is, and the importance of horns as signifier, gender is quite fluid and open across the steps. A doe who did not manage to stop her shedding may at any point in her life choose to saw off her horns completely, with the only requirement that she saves them to give them to a stag that never grew his to begin with, so that they too may have their right of age and have them turned to bone. Some choose to forgo the ritual altogether, attaching their horns to helmets that they put on and remove as they see fit. Okay, so gender is fluid in this universe. Ibex. Barin, they call themselves, but they're only ones to do so. Both deer and gazelles after the descendants of the banished Barons by a new name, Ibex. Not every Barin kneeled down before High King Isifik after losing the war. Some preferred to face the hardships of the eternal winter for beyond the spine of Amai, over giving up all their traditions. Those brave few that settled far beyond the reaches of Arkazor found protection and company in the forests of Megdar, that populate the harsh lands of Aktimusarat, for they were all children of Harut. After annihilation of Baran civilization in Baskarat, the Ibex clung to the language of worship of their ancestors. They continue the worship of Harut and pray for a day to see will lead them to a new golden age. Social standing. Ibex find themselves in quite a unique situation in regards to deer, being that they are not perceived as being the same species as gazelles. They manage to escape the history that still haunts their closest siblings, in spite of being the most ardent defenders of what they perceive as true Baran culture. Even though deer were the direct cause of their situation, the two species are an outstanding example of peaceful cohabitation, going as far as to intermarry with the few tribes of deer that live so far up north. This association was most likely helped by the fact that the Ibex culture at large holds a deep resentment towards gazelles, seeing them as traitors that prefer to exchange their freedom for safety. Be it as it may, these mountain goats share little resemblance to their desert-dwelling ancestors. The harsh conditions of Aktamusarat gave place to shorter and sturdier Urbex, greatly educated warriors who are often hired as caravan guards and mercenaries in the petty inside wars all over the kingdom. Makdar. Makdar are children of Harut. Just like gazelles, the treemen were the youngest brother's first attempts to create new living beings, and it's still discussed whether they are bloodlings or not, since they produce via fruits and produce sap. The Makdar are gigantic and incapable of speech. They size well up to depending on your origin. 6 average deer, 7 gazelles, 26 arms, 30 feet, or 12 standardized Karnme horns. They are huge and eerily silent. Makdar live hidden among standard trees, away from the public eye. Makdar townholds are known as forests of people. Now repeat after me. I'm never walking into a forest of God's damn gigantic sentient trees in my life because I'm not an idiot. Makdar and Akane have a long relationship of mutual hatred, because the deer refuse to abide by the sentence I just wrote. Makdeer. The dumb pun is the name that the hybrids of Makdar and Akane receive, much to their chagrin. The deer quickly realized once Makdar were created that their fruits weren't normal, but some Akane had to eat them to realize that first. Makdeer are born as weak saplings that have to be planted. Understanding their rarity, the tree deer that survived soon gathered to form their own families. One such family that rose to prominence were the Buntalos, who abandoned the forest entirely and found their place in the many palaces of Axor as assistants and ambassadors. There were more deer than tree at this point, but it doesn't really show. And I believe that is all of our lore. Sorry Oh, actually, it was perfect. We went a little bit over, but not too much. That's going to do it for the first episode. Yeah, sorry if this was way too lore-heavy and you're not interested. I guess you can just skip by this. Once again, Maxie said that you'll learn everything over due course as we play through the game. But thank you for joining me on this journey. If you have, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to BronyTime for more content, especially more of the Hayseed Night. This series won't be as consistent and regular as Ace Attorney or my Gen 4 Revisited series, but it will be happening. I'll be recording it whenever I feel up to it. This is kind of my own personal choice of a series, so. But yes, also make sure to share this video, first video. It's very important, especially on the first video of any new series, that it gets spread around as far as you can get to get eyeballs on it. I will see you all next time when we finally get into, that's my old save, so we're going to get rid of that. I will see you in the next video so we can actually kind of get started on this story.